So hey guys, I'm Raisin, and today we're going to be showing everyone how to build a time or passing time system for your game. And basically, it will take into account a calendar and the weekdays. Let's see how we can do it. I've never done it before, and that's why I will just jump into it, trying to make it happen at some point. For this system, we basically have three functions. One function that sets the time passing. It basically sums in a minute every time we want to run this function. And it will check whether the minutes have arrived above 59. In this case, if it's 60, we will set it back to 0. We will sum another hour that has passed, and we will sum another hour in the clock. Once we did that, we will check the clock, and what the clock says is basically that if the clock time is higher than 23, in this case it's 24, we will set the clock time to 0 as everyone else's home clock, and we will set another day to be passed, in this case in the calendar. So if days are higher than 30, in this case this is just a month, a really basic system before implementing the calendar system. So if it arrived to 30 or above from it, we would switch it back to 0 the days, and the months would have passed 1. And in this case, if months arrived to 12 or above, we would set months to 0, and a new year has passed. It's a really simple system, basically, the thing I have now, and this is the daynet switch. Basically, it checks whether we switched between day and night, and it sets night true or false, depending on the case. It's really basic stuff. We should probably run the day-night switch over here. So just call it here. And from here on, what we will do from here on, now that we have the time passing systems, we will just create the calendar system. We right now have the 12 months of the year, in from 0 to 11, and the 7 days of the month from 0 to 6. This is how we will make it happen. Okay, so what we've been doing, it's basically just setting up this system, this clock system. And after that, we just created this new function that basically switches the lights. Depending on the function we had before, the daynet switch, we just run this thing in the fixed update method. And therefore we are capable of moving the global light and the house light intensity towards the intensities they are going to be facing for the next hours. And this is basically a real simple system. It took me a little while to make it work because I had to figure out which hours were the correct ones, and how the lerp was moving things around during the time. But now the timings are correct, and if we go exactly to where we have our clock, you will see here's the clock ticking. And if I move the hours in, for example, back to 5th hours, the next hour, the sun, in this case the global light, will be, as you will see, rise from 0.1 to a higher value. And that's basically the morning coming in. And yeah, it's daylight. Now you can see the sun in this thing. That's basically the system I've been using for the last time. Now it's just a little bit updated with the lights. Before I was using a simple animation thing with the animator, but now we're using just the lights. We're turning up and turning down the lights, and that's basically the system we're going to be using. So I will show you as well what I did in the update methods for basically updating the clocks, and I had to come up with something to add a 0 in case I just the numbers were not for example, for the minutes, if I was just at 1 minute, it was only showing one number. So but it just seems to work correctly. And if we move the things, the lighters is still moving because it's lerping through some time. So that's why it keeps moving, but it's around the value you've said, so it will always be kind of right. From here on, we just gotta build up on the month system. Okay, so for the simple system, we will get rid of these things because we will basically do it with scriptable objects. What's the way to do it with the scriptable objects? Basically, we will create a new script. Create C# script. We will call it SO month. Yeah, that can be good. Scriptable object month, and basically with this we will set a structure that I will carry over from a different already object container. We will basically inherit from scriptable object, and we will be using basically an int. We will first of all bring, so we'll go SL month. Oh shit here, and that's properly here, and next let's call it month month unit, and we basically we're going to have a string that's the name of the month. Well, I don't know if they have to be public or not. I mean, do they? Yeah, they need to be public. Okay, yes. So yeah, public string, and it's going to be the name, the month name. And okay, I'm writing in the wrong language now. That's my problem. Okay, and now we're going to be setting an public int that's going to be stating the day amount of that month. The amount. And with that, we basically have a month, right? What does a month have? Saints and things as well, you know, whatever. But we basically have what we need. Why do we need this? If you're asking, we need this to be able to right click in Unity and be able to create a scriptable object from here, like this object I have here with the stats of the player that we will load at the beginning of your game. But for example, this time system, I know there are a lot of scripts, but I'm just playing with these things, so don't worry, we're just focusing on these things. And we're going to be creating now, if we are lucky enough, a month unit. We can just create a month unit and say this is January, right? And then we can set the amount of this thing to, I don't know, how many days does January have? 31, I guess, I think. And now we just set the name. And with this, with the 12 months we have, and basically with this we will have basically everything we need. From there on, we'll start coding. Okay, so there we go. So I figured out that basically whenever we're already updating the month, we can directly set it and say that the month is equal to the scriptable object's actual month, because we are already upgrading it here. So therefore we should actually set it into what it is. Therefore that should actually work. And with that we can actually say to month.dayAmount. There we go. We already have the system going with the months, and therefore we already will update every month whether we've arrived to the day amount. And that's probably gonna be it. Not minor, not higher, but yeah, equal. So yeah, whenever it gets equal, it will update to the next one. It's higher than month day amount, right? It's higher, it needs to be higher. Whenever you get to day 32 of the month, you're already in day 1 of the next month, so it needs to be higher than the day amount. Probably that's going to work. In this case, days goes to 0, no, they go to 1. Probably days 1. And actual month plus plus, there we go. And a month dot scriptable months actual month. I guess I don't have any code issues over here. So yeah, I'm gonna go to the console. Okay, let's see what this thing does. Basically, so we have the system now in here, scriptable months. We have 12 of them, and it has 11 of them. Okay, perfect. So we can identify each month with basically these 11 things. And with that, we're basically getting everything we needed. And December. Perfect. And there we go. Basically, let's check what we're doing for you to understand exactly what's going on. We have an array over here that it's basically this thing you've seen over here. It's basically this thing. And with that, we have this thing that's private. That's basically going to be updated every time we cycle this array. And every time we cycle this array is every time the clock says we need to pass 1 month, right? Basically, when the days.month.day amount, well, basically the days are higher than the day amount of the month, we'll say, okay, if I have 31 days over here, I will just wait 31 times until I can actually go through it. So it will not do this part of code if it hasn't reached, you know, the amount. When it reaches the amount, it just goes through this part of code and basically updates the month. And updating the month sets the actual month, and basically whenever you've arrived to the end of the year, it will set the year plus plus. It will basically just do that. And okay, let's just test it out. Let's see, it doesn't have any problems. And well, this is basically not a problem at all. Of the player, not of me. But okay, things may be loading. So actual month. I haven't loaded any month yet because we haven't arrived to the day 30. I don't know. Because, you know, okay. We probably need to make it public as well for the sake of playing with it later on in other scripts. So yeah, it's going to be public for me. And okay, we actually have the month itself, so it hasn't loaded any month, but by now when we start the game it will load a month itself. Okay, it has done it. It's done February, I don't know why. Set it to, oh okay, it's 1, okay, it's February, it's right. It's correct. So okay, February has 28 days and it will have to load March. And if it does, we're good to go. See it over here loading March. In just a moment. Oh, it didn't. We're back at 28th of February, guys. Now it's time to test if this really works. Let's go back to 22 p.m. Okay, it's 22 now. Now we just need to wait. Wait and see if we load March. And if we do, then we have the system. Then we will load the actual month from the player prefs and we're good to go. At the end of the game, I will actually make a proper loading and saving system, but by now just using the player prefs because it's basically usable. And yay, it loaded March. Oh no, it loaded April. What the fuck? Okay, yeah, because we were at 1. Again, yeah, it's correctly working. At least, at least it's correctly working, and I'm not just being stupid. Yeah, it works correctly. Working. Now the next thing to do in this thing, it's basically going to be setting up all the UI for the months to be displayed and all the days to be displayed in the calendar. So it's basically going to be a little difficult, but that's the next thing. Let's go. month name, and everything should be right. Fine, right? Well, we'll save this. We'll go back to Unity, and if we click play, we should see our clock updating correctly, I guess. Okay, it's 0 February, and it's the day 0. We need to change that. It needs to be the day 1 example. Let's set the days to 28. We're in February, so remember, February has 28 days. Whenever we get to the time we need to get, so it's 23. It's basically night, and 28th of February. Next month it's March, and of course it's 1 of March, and it's great. The system is fully working, and now. So now that I have this UI properly set and it's properly working, what we need to create, it's basically a system or a simple function to be able to click and enable this panel or disable this panel if you will, and basically be able to get more info or not. What we can do in order to achieve this thing, it's basically set both things as different panels. As you can see, I've been creating on the UI a little bit of a system, and as you can see, this is basically the clock opened, and this clock opened contains what the month year panel is and the weather panel. And do it if you click in this clock, you will actually activate this thing. If you click again, you will deactivate it. A really simple thing, and as you can see, I already have this panel opener thing. It's a really simple function, as you can see over here. Basically, it detects if the panel is active, and in case it's active, it sets it inactive. In this case, whenever it's the opposite case, it does the opposite. And yeah, really simple stuff. And therefore, we already have this script assigned over here, and we've assigned the panel we want to enable. That's actually the clock open panel. This is when we have the clock opened. If not, you will see the actual time. And that's all. We will set this thing inactive. And what we need now is basically to create a button around here that may be transparent. You can basically do it. We will go to actual time. Click here. Add button. UI. This is the easiest thing you can do if you really want, to add something. Here we still have a lot of opacity, and yeah, there we go. Everything should be at 0. Okay, and now you have a properly set button that will be fully transparent, and you can even remove the text that comes with it. Then you just remove the text, you have the button, you can click on it, and you basically need to add the function you've been creating. It's a scene controller in this case. So we'll go to panel opener, and let's set the function that calls an open panel. This is the clock container. Oh, wait, mishap. Clock container. Okay, that's better. And once you have that, you basically set everything inside that clock container. You go to your clock container, go to your image, and set it to transparent. And no one will ever see your clock container. It's like it's not there. You can even set it inactive. It does something. I don't know if it does something or not, but yeah, you can basically set it inactive as well. So you will click on it, and you will drag everything without problem, so you know where everything is going to be inside your game screen. But how is it going to be? Is it going to work, or is it not? And okay, we click, and actually it looks pretty cool. This effect where whenever you click it gets white. It's pretty cool. I actually like it. And therefore you can enable the things and you can disable them whenever you want. You can actually check whether you're in February or not. And let's 1500. We're back in time. But hey, this is basically a really simple system, and from here on we're just gonna get to the weather system with the season system, and once we have that, we will have everything. Everything's going to be working correctly. So, and as well, if you didn't check it, you can set this thing to 5. In the morning, it's still night, but therefore, just take a look at this whenever we get to B6. I really like this effect where it just turns on and it just kind of lights up. It's really cool. Then just it's light on. So yeah, it's a spot on, man. That's great. So yeah, well, this was everything. Basically, how to create this real simple system with scriptable objects, and how to make it fully work with a real simple UI system. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.